8 starts. He went 5-1 and opened a lot of eyes in that short time.
He sure did, and he's not the typical young pitcher who might be intimidated by this moment. He thrives in it, and look, that's a personality. That's a feeling of confidence. But you see the makeup of all of his pitches. He's tough to sit on. He's got great secondary stuff. He spins it. He creates an angle. And I'm telling you, I can already tell by his warm-up pitches, he is really, really ready for this moment.
He's 24 years old out of Garner, North Carolina. And ready to take on this lineup for Francisco Cervelli's Team Italy. Jacob Marcy leads off, and then John Birdie, Major League veteran, hits second at second base. The team captain, Vinny Pasquantino, is the 3-hitter. Dominic Canzone, Seattle Mariner, hits cleanup and DHs. Zach DeZenzo got a great hand from the crowd here. He's with the Houston Astros, starts at third and bats fifth. Cal Teal, catcher for the Chicago White Sox. Caglione's the 7-hitter. Antonacci at short, hitting eighth. And Dante Nori, somebody that's opened a lot of eyes in his short time with Team Italy. And there's Francisco Cervelli, more than a decade as a catcher in the major leagues, won a World Series with the New York Yankees, and since retiring and taking over as the manager of Team Italy, he has committed his life to building baseball in Italy.
Yeah, pretty cool, and getting the chance to talk to him. Look, that staff's heavy with the catchers. They got catchers galore. But yeah, doing this now for him is a joy and a privilege, and what he really wants to do is get to the next round.
Yeah, you mentioned the catchers on the staff. He's got his old Yankees teammate Jorge Posada, who has no Italian heritage. Jorge said he loves pasta, though, and so that was his qualification to be part of the staff. All right, here we go. Team USA trying to clinch its spot in the knockout round. They do so with a win. Team Italy still right in it, sitting at 2-0. And they'll finish things off tomorrow against Mexico. Off we go in the finale for the Americans in strike one as Jacob Marcy hits it foul.
I would think Team Italy certainly have resources to watch video and see everything they need to see for the pitching staff of the USA. I think they're going to be aggressive tonight. And the first two swings certainly tell the story. And as this game goes on, it'll dictate what Team Italy has to do regarding their pitching and how they're going to treat this game, because tomorrow's equally as important for them.
Could even argue more important. Backdoor breaking pitch for strike three. We'll dive into those details in a moment as you get to see right there, John, what has people most fired up about McClain. That
arm angle,
stuff.
spin, and break. And it's just hard to kind of settle in on one pitch. He'll change your eye level. He'll change speeds. And for a young pitcher, man, he is composed and doesn't just rear back and chuck it.
He's got a strikeout for the first out of the ball game. That makes it 47 strikeouts to just 2 walks for Team USA pitching. That's a strike on John Birdie. Just to finish off that thought about what Italy's playing for tonight versus tomorrow, there's a scenario where they could win tonight and still not get into the knockout round. They could lose tonight, but if they win tomorrow, even after losing tonight, that guarantees that they'd be in. Because then it would just be a 2-way tiebreaker, and then it comes down to a head-to-head, which they would have won by beating Mexico. And they went to the knockout round in the last World Baseball Classic when Mike Piazza was the manager of Team Italy. You think Italy, how in the world do they have baseball players competing with Team USA, going 2-0 in this event so far? Well, there are 22 players on Team Italy with Major League experience. 21 of those born in USA. Guys of Italian heritage that maybe didn't quite make the cut for Team USA, wanted to be involved in this event, getting a chance with Team Italy. Ned Colletti, the former general manager of the Dodgers, putting together this roster. 2-2 to Birdie is swung on and missed. Another breaking pitch. A pitch that Mark DeRosa calls a John Smoltz slider.
He says that slider is absolutely turning the corner, and it's just a good arm angle. It's got the spin of kind of an Aaron Nola as well, just a little different funky release.
Aaron Nola, by the way, going to start tomorrow's game for Team Italy. Here's the captain of the Italian squad, Vinny Pasquantino, the Kansas City Royals. Guy that George Brett, Royal legend, has dubbed the Italian Nightmare. 32 home runs a season ago for Pasquantino. Third in the American League in runs batted in. It went Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, and then Pasquantino.
And a big park too, right? It's not like he's hitting in a bandbox.
Got a little smaller, though. Moved the fences in at Kaufman. And how about this first inning for Nolan McLean? Striking out the side, showing off that breaking stuff. Team USA comes to bat when you come back. Team USA is coming to bat with this lineup. A little different look than last night. Witt, Henderson, Judge, Schwarber, Will Smith, Roman Anthony. Paul Goldschmidt gets his first start of the World Baseball Classic. Ernie Clement and Pete Crow Armstrong back in there as well. And this is a guy that they're all going to be familiar with. Michael Lorenzen has pitched more than a decade in the major leagues. About half of that with the Cincinnati Reds. He's bounced around in recent years. At the knees with a strike, 1-1 on Witt. 7 different pitches he's got. He says he's toying with an 8th. Signed a 1-year contract with the Colorado Rockies. Should be the 17th that he's played for the last 6 seasons. Witt on the ground to short. Sam Antonacci across the diamond for the first out. Well, Mark DeRosa's got a good problem on his hands. That is, he has too many good infielders, not enough spots. Gunnar Henderson, who picked up the phone, and Mark DeRosa called him this offseason, asked him to join Team USA, and he heard that Bobby Witt's going to be the starting shortstop. Mark DeRosa was right up front with him. Henderson said, okay, I'm in, but I'm going to force your hand. And sure enough, a couple months later, he gets his first start, and he has a 4-hit game. DeRosa's like, geez, he wasn't kidding. And so he finds a spot for him here, plays third with Alex Bregman getting his first day off.
He's playing that premier position at shortstop in Baltimore, and of course Cal Ripken Jr. being the man over in Baltimore. But this young man has so much potential, and early on when they had the success that getting into the postseason, losing to the Rangers, but now they're trying to get back, redefine that roster, get some pitching and help out these really good young position players.
Henderson was the rookie of the year 2023. He was an all-star the year after that. Not as good last year. Still just 24 years of age, though. 2-2 against Lorenzen. Team USA's offense not quite as well oiled, I think, as a lot of people thought it would be so far. And again, it's only 3 games, but it all gets compounded because it is such a short run here. They've had big outbursts. They had the 5-run inning last night. The swing and a miss from Henderson, 2 up and 2 down, and they've had a lot of traffic. It's just been once they've gotten guys on, they've not been able to cash in.
Well, on paper, it's you're looking at the lineup card. If you're a starting pitcher and you're like, all right, there's not much room for mistakes.
Yeah.
But much like the regular season and getting your timing and I mean, if this lineup were to play the regular season, they would lead all of baseball in runners in scoring position. It's just right now they're all getting their legs under them. They're controlling the strike zone, getting a lot of walks, but just haven't gotten some of those hits that normally they're going to get with runners on.
Aaron Judge started the scoring with a 2-run home run last night. He started the scoring with a home run in 2 of the 3 games so far for USA. Lorenzen stays away, 2 balls and no strikes. So to your point, Aaron described last night's game as playoff baseball in March. This is a time of year where normally you're trying to find your swing, and you're playing playoff baseball.
Well, this would be a good test for Lorenzen because pitching in Coors Field is like facing this lineup every inning. Getting 3 outs at Coors Field is definitely in Denver is a challenge. So that'll be the same challenge he has navigating getting 3 clean outs in this game.
That's a 4-pitch walk to Judge, and that's a life that he chose, signing as a free agent this offseason. Well, the inning kept alive, and up comes Kyle Schwarber.
Got to be careful if you're Lorenzen on the first pitch after a walk, because everybody who hits behind Aaron Judge is going to have this a lot during the year, of course, with the New York Yankees.
Downstairs, that's 5 straight misses from Lorenzen. Schwarber's big swing came on Saturday night. breaking a bit of a tense game against Great Britain opened. Upper deck home run. Facing his old Phillies teammate here in Lorenzen. It's one of the several teams Lorenzen's played for the last few years and had one of his finest moments right after coming over in a trade. Pitched a no-hitter for the Phillies.
It was like 14th in team history or something like that. Just happened to read it.
It's a lot of them.
That is a lot.
You know, unlikely candidate. Guy that, more than being known for being a dominant pitcher, probably was known for his biceps and being a two-way guy early on in his career with Cincinnati. Lorenzen's got 7 home runs in his major league career. Here's his 2-0 to Schwarber. That's strike.
Maybe that's why he went to Colorado. He could be
that's it.
Be a pinch hitter too. Extra player off the bench.
The pitching might be tough, but my bat's about to get on fire. He's only the 3rd free agent starting pitcher to sign with the Rockies externally, so not a re-sign, in the last decade.
Yeah, well,
I guess it's not surprising, but still to put numbers to it like that. So walks Judge with 2 outs to keep this inning going. Now 3-1 on Schwarber, who sends a fly ball down the right field line. Caglione's over there. He's got it. Lorenzen's got to score his first inning. On to the second in Houston. Pretty good trip going for this young fella. He got to skip school, check. He got to meet, no check yet that on there. We're still working on that. Meet Bobby Witt Jr., but you got to see a Team USA win last night, and he didn't get to meet Bobby, but that win featured him. What a game he played. Those diving plays, the 2 hustle doubles that he had. Mark DeRosa said, I know Shohei Ohtani's the unicorn and Aaron Judge is the ultimate hitter, but you talk about ultimate 5-tool baseball player. Bobby Witt showed everybody last night. That's what he is.
Yeah, you just can't imagine the full extension, but the arm and just the timing in his head. You know, he was never in a hurry.
The second one, the throw that he had over there, just an absolute cannon. He said he wasn't quite happy with it because he thought the throw cut a little bit too much. High standards and a highlight reel play that you'll see for a while. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Dominic Canzone of the Seattle Mariners, DHing for Team Italy. And tomahawking this ball on the ground to second. That's where Ernie Clement draws the start today. 1 gone in the second. So 4 up and 4 down for Nolan McLean, and for more on the young right-hander, here's Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, we're seeing the stuff. It's obvious, but Mets manager Carlos Mendoza says what separates McLean is the way he competes. He actually wants the ball when situations turn uncomfortable. Case in point, his major league debut last August 16th against the Mariners. Bases loaded, 3rd inning, Julio Rodriguez steps to the plate with 1 out. Mendoza said that McLean picked up his tempo, stayed confident in his body language, believed he was going to win the matchup. Sure enough, Rodriguez bounced into a 1-6-3 double play, and McLean went on to pitch 5 1/3 scoreless innings.
And it's a guy, Kenny and John, that is still relatively new to pitching, at least to putting all of his focus in pitching. He went to Oklahoma State as a 2-way player. He hit 36 home runs in his time there, so he was budgeting both things, the hitting and the pitching, and he was a 2-sport guy. Football was his first love, and he thought that his future was going to be as a quarterback. DeZenzo on the ground to short. Witt's got it. 2 up and 2 down in the second. But decided to put football to bed and focus just on baseball. Even once the Mets drafted him, he was still doing some hitting in his first season in the Mets organization, and then last year for the first time put his full focus on pitching and went from Double-A to the major leagues by the end.
Yeah, it's a great start to what hopefully will be a long career.
Kyle Teal sends a high fly ball to deep left field. Anthony's back, turning and watching this one go. Kyle Teal to the White Sox starts the scoring with a home run. good offensive catcher who made his debut last season for the White Sox. About to go get an espresso shot. The celebration for Team Italy. That comes after you put on the Armani jacket. And the captain over there, Pasquantino, has it waiting for him. There's the tailored jacket. Caglione fouls it off. And here comes the shot. They had to calibrate that espresso machine. There's the kisses on the cheeks. They had to calibrate the machine because it was too hot. It was burning the guys' mouths. 1-1 on Caglione. You talk about a group having a blast. A team that nobody's really given a chance to make much noise. A lot of young players that are plenty capable. They may not be names that people recognize yet, but we're talking about guys that have either reached the major leagues or big time prospects in major league organizations. Came together for the first time a little more than a week ago, and you hear Team USA talking about how close they've grown in a quick time. Team Italy's talking about the same thing. Nick Galletti told us the charter flight over here, it's one of the coolest charter flights he's been on. Watching all these guys sing Italian songs in the aisles, and a little bit of nice Italian wine might have been involved in that. Caglione gets hit by the pitch, and he's aboard with 2 out.
Well, this is just really good hitting, taking advantage of the ballpark. Well, sorry, we're going to see the hit by pitch. That's something when you get hit on the foot, you don't mind it too. You don't mind it, but the one thing that they're building over in Italy, of course, promotion of baseball, trying to find as many players as they can. But it's also creating the confidence that they can, right? They're starting to play. It's the second year in a row now, or second WBC, and they got a good chance to advance.
Yeah, they did in 23. They beat Cuba and then lost to Japan in the quarterfinals. 1-1 strike on Antonacci. Talent base growing in Italy. Again, a lot of these guys are from the United States. There are a handful, though, who are born and raised in Italy. And the Italian team won the European Baseball Championship 10 times. They're the runner-up last year. Here's a drive to right center field that sends Judge back to the track, to the wall, and gone. Sam Antonacci hits a home run. Team Italy with a 3-0 lead. Antonacci, another White Sox, although he's not made it any higher than Double-A and hit a total of 5 home runs in the minor leagues last year. He's gone deep against Team USA, and Azzurri having all the fun so far. And all the coffee. Two home runs in the second inning. And a 3-0 lead for Italy. Now it's Dante Nori stroking the ball to left center field. Roman Anthony strides into the gap to cut it off and end the inning. Well, for the folks that have followed this squad through this group play, this shouldn't come as a surprise. They had 5 home runs in their first 2 games. Pair of home runs for Team Italy in the second inning. 3-0 lead. You can show your country pride at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic World Baseball Classic jerseys, caps, t-shirts, and more. Visit MLBshop.com, the official source of all your World Baseball Classic gear. Much different environment here tonight. The chill Tuscan countryside type environment compared to the party that it was last night when Mexico and USA faced off. Will Smith doing the catching instead of Cal Raleigh tonight, taken upstairs. Ball 1 from Lorenzen. Dodger catcher, one of the heroes of Game 7. It's amazing to have a home run that wins a Game 7, and it's not the home run that people talk most about.
The whole thing was amazing. It just, I still try to replay that in my mind about having been there, done that. in my own experiences, being a second away from winning. Or
how about a right center field? Marcy and Caglione. It'll be Caglione and right. I mean, for the longest time, looked like it was going to be Blue Jays in 7. And Miguel Rojas, the tying home run with everybody focused on the guy that was on deck, Shohei Ohtani. And then Rojas, a swing that changed everything. One away in the second inning. Lorenzen pitching with the lead as he faces off with Roman Anthony. Chops the first pitch into the ground. Pasquantino at first. 2 out. Now, first day off for Bryce Harper. See him over on the bench. That's because Paul Goldschmidt is making his World Baseball Classic debut. And in doing so, Goldschmidt becomes the first guy ever to suit up 3 times for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Mark DeRosa wanted his leadership, his experience in this event, and envisions him as a right-handed bat off of the bench in the knockout phase. And didn't want him to go into that cold. They're getting him a few at-bats here. Said he got the side eye from both Harper and Bregman, though, when he put out the lineup. All right, Skip. 2 games. You don't need a day.
I got to give Mark a lot of credit. There's no real big upside of being the manager of Team USA with the expectations, the building of the roster, manipulating all the do's and don'ts from organizations and players and pitchers. And
over to first, Pasquantino feeding Lorenzen, and he works a quick inning, 7 pitches.
Welcome back to Houston. Team Italy leading Team USA 3-0. We're here with Italy manager Francisco Cervelli. Francisco, Sam Antonacci, one of several young players that you're very impressed with. What is it about those guys that has stood out to you most?
Well, the energy, the passion, the attitude is always right. They want to play. They want to be in the field, so that was impressed me. I think this game is all about attitude.
Michael Lorenzen, what did you like about him that convinced you to start him tonight?
Well, I faced him so many times when I play. For me, it was nasty. This is a perfect guy for this kind of games. He's not scared. He knows everyone, so why not?
Francisco, to get to the next round, the knockout round, what would it mean for Italian baseball?
It means the world. It means we're doing something right, and we're going to continue to do it, and we're going to continue to help the young guys in Italy.
Francisco, thanks a
Thank
lot.
you very
Good
much.
luck.
Yeah, Francisco signed a 4-year commitment to be the head of the Italian baseball club. The top of the order here, Jacob Marcy leads off, takes a ball. It's 1-2, and he said his whole goal is that he leaves Italian baseball in a better place than he found it, and put tires to the road to make that happen this offseason. He spent 6 months out of the last year living in Italy. Said, yeah, it was a beautiful time to be able to hang out, relax, but also he drove 15,000 miles around Italy in a van trying to uncover baseball talent, trying to spread the game, doing some coaching, doing some managing, doing some scouting, and just growing the game over there.
yeah, totally different perspectives for each manager. One, all the weight and pressure, and the other, he's got nothing but going up, right? Like everything they do now is a tremendous bonus, and they definitely want to win. It's not like if they don't, it's not accepted or not desired to. But man, oh man, to jump out to a nice 3-0 lead here early, couldn't be a better spot for Francisco.
Marcy goes from 0-2 to taking the walk there against McLean, and now it's John Birdie floating it foul. Cervelli was born in Venezuela to an Italian father, and so this is one of the ways for him to pay homage to his dad. Not uncommon, the Venezuela-Italy connection. This is as large a concentration of folks with Italian heritage in Venezuela as anywhere in the world. 1 ball and 1 strike. In fact, Venezuela means Little Venice. The explorers that came from Italy to what is now Venezuela saw a city that was built on the water, built on wood on the water, that reminded them of the canals of Venice. 2 balls, 1 strike.
All right, the last, I don't know, couple hitters, he's getting around that pitch, and he's been real sharp in the first inning, struck out the side. Second inning, some little shock to the system, giving up a couple home runs, rushing just a little bit.
There goes the runner from first, and it's hit foul. McClain gave up 4 home runs in his 48 innings in the big leagues last year, and then 2 of them in a 3-batter span. It's the bottom of the Team Italy lineup last inning. And the cap is 65 pitches in pool play. It goes to 90 in the quarterfinals, or to 80 in the quarterfinals, and then 95 in the semis in the championship. Marcy, great speed over there at first base. Stole 61 bases last year. Says he climbed through the minor leagues in the Marlins organization and then came up to the big leagues, set the world on fire in his first month there. Rookie of the month for the Marlins. Rookie at first, a veteran at the plate. Marcy runs again, and it's fouled again. "30 parts of 8 seasons in the big leagues. Spent last year with the Chicago Cubs. Just had a good tournament. Was 3 for 4 in their last game. Couple doubles. Marcy not going this time. Birdie lifts a fly ball to center field. Back goes Pete Crow Armstrong. Plenty of room. Marcy tags. Thought about it, but a good throw from PCA, and back to first goes Marcy.
A lot of room in center field. Center fielders love playing here. Cover a lot of territory, and that man can cover a lot.
Like it a lot more than they did when Tal's Hill was out there.
Yeah. Man, I used to love trying to run up that hill and catch a fly ball in BP. It make you look silly.
I bet.
Yeah, you just can't imagine.
Not just the hill, but a flagpole sitting out there in the middle of it. Like, geez. Pasquantino, probably the biggest name on this roster, is still looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 8. Now, no matter what the numbers say, the value that he's brought to this team has been immense. Captain, not just a word. This guy's gone out of his way to recruit a lot of this roster and do so personally. Not just casting a wide net saying, you know, who's got a 10 heritage, what do you think? No, he's zeroing in on guys. Zach DeZenzo tells the story that when the Royals were here last summer, he got a box sent over to the Astros clubhouse that had a white tank top in it, and that was the symbolic offering of a spot on Team Italy from Pasquantino. Breaking pitch lands at the knees for out number 2. 4th strikeout for McClain. 2 gone in this 3rd. Paul Skeens so good last night. Those 7 Ks over 4 innings. There goes Marcy. Got a great jump. Throw from Will Smith. Skips into center field. Marcy heads for 3rd. Crow Armstrong won't even try. Yeah, Marcy's at 3rd base, showing off that speed. So stolen base and then an E2. And now Marcy's 90 feet away with 2 gone. A little bit outside, 2-0 on Canzone.
Big 2-out situation here for McClain because already trailing by 3. And piling up the pitches and everything that is so important about this tournament are the runs that you end up giving up if you find yourself in that three-way tie.
And the way that that three-way tie would happen would be if Italy were to win this game and then lose tomorrow to Mexico. You'd have all three teams at 3-1, and then it does come down to get your calculators out, get your grids out. But to your point, it's all about run prevention in that case.
Yeah, and it's only run prevention, which you educated me on, amongst the three teams, not in the pool. Because if it was in the pool, I think USA would already be safe.
Yeah, the way they dominated Great Britain and Brazil. That's downstairs for ball 4, and the second walk of the inning drawn by the Italians. First and third for DeZenzo.
See, sometimes pitchers, I mean, obviously this is the middle of spring training, but if this were a season, game of the season, sometimes when a hitter shocks your fastball or takes a pitch out of the yard a couple times in this game, you get a little shy with it. You don't need to get shy with it. And it seems like the breaking ball's gotten heavier and heavier usage, which it's a big part of his repertoire. Don't get me wrong. It's just you can't forget about executing your fastball as well.
Andy Pettit, one of the best big game pitchers there ever was, out there to talk with McLean.
First inning fastball was pumping at about 97.7. Went down a little bit since then, but you can understand the adrenaline rush.
Three runs in the second inning. Italy looking for more here. Marcia at third, Canzone at first, and DeZenzo, who's battling to make the opening day roster for the Astros, up at the plate 0 for 1 with a ground out. Way outside with a first pitch breaking ball. DeZenzo's played 50 games in the major leagues the last couple seasons, stunted some by injuries. A 1-0 from McLean, takes it way outside, ball 2. You've got Kyle Teal, who went deep his first time, waiting on deck. Getting close to that 65 pitch mark. (2-0). Chopper over the mound to second, and Clement has to take him right to the bag. So Italy strands a couple this time and leads this game 3-0.
Welcome back to Houston. We're here with USA manager Mark DeRosa. Mark, Nolan McLean likely out of the game now. What is your pitching plan the rest of the way?
Yeah, we'd like to get Ryan Yarbrough some length, get some length out of him, and then hand it over. We got 4 monsters at the back end of the bullpen. Keller, Bednar. Who else we got down there? Just
Mason Miller.
Yeah, Mason Miller, a bunch of others. So we'll be ready to go. We just got to get the bats going.
You made several lineup changes today.
Yeah.
How difficult has it been for you as a manager to keep all of these great players happy?
I think that selfless guys, there's 14 position players here that deserve to play. And I think at the end of the day, they're all coming together as a team, and we'll figure it out.
You've said all along you want this offense to erupt. You really haven't seen it erupt. What is it going to take for that to happen?
Yeah, usually it starts with something little like a walk or a base hit or somebody makes an error and all of a sudden the floodgates open. I just think the quality of at bat in our lineup is just too deep, and it suffocates you by the end of 9 innings.
Mark, thanks a lot. Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny, we saw that a little bit on Saturday night against Great Britain, where they trailed into the middle part of the game before the offense came to life, and that all started, to DeRosa's point, with Ernie Clement putting a ball in play that turned into an error and led to a big inning. Pete Crow Armstrong back in the lineup. The Cubs center fielder hitting 9th today. Swings and misses, and he's behind 0-2.
Well, the one thing that's going really well for Team Italy is, of course, their starting pitchers only got 28 pitches. So to come through 3 innings and be under 45 pitches against the Team USA would be pretty remarkable, and not give up any runs.
Well, you know a guy's into a challenge if he signs to pitch at Coors Field. Lorenzen was trying to appreciate this as that, as opposed to, oh man, how in the world am I going to face this lineup? I would imagine that's the only way you can look at it to have any shot at succeeding.
Yeah, I mean, the old cliche, one pitch at a time, one batter at a time. Certainly when you're going through a lineup like this, that's the only way you can approach it. And you tell yourself, do not have runners on for the big boys like Judge and Schwarber. So far he's had some pretty quick outs, and that's the key.
Only one base runner for Team USA. That was a Judge walk. 2-2 on PCA. Here's Lorenzen's pitch. 31 home runs, 35 stolen bases last year for Crow Armstrong. Also won a Gold Glove. One of the most exciting young players in the sport. Sammy Sosa, the only other Cub with a 30-30 season. Lays off this pitch. That'll be one of the stories Cubs fans will watch this year, how consistently he can do that. Last year was an MVP candidate in the first half, even with his aggressive approach, but really struggled down the stretch. And the biggest issue for him is laying off balls. Golfs this one to center field. Marcy goes back on it, steps onto the warning track, and he hit it to the wrong part of the yard. Long fly out, 2 gone in the third.
Breaking ball down, and he golfs it and hits it a long ways, to your point, but one of the bigger center fields.
Dies in front of that 409 sign. Team USA ready for its second look at Lorenzen. Bobby Witt Jr. has this fastball whistle by him. Ground out to short his first time. And the crowd, which has been hushed so far, to breathe a little life into the home team.
Well, this is really the first time they've been tested, meaning down by multiple runs, right? It jumped out to a 5-0 lead yesterday, held on to win 5-3.
Bouncing ball left side, in through. First hit of the game for USA comes from Witt.
And these can be good things for a team that is expected to kind of run over most of their competition. As you see, Bobby Witt was going to be a hit no matter if he fielded it or not. But
you know, Witt, who stole 38 bases last year, stole 49 a couple of years ago. He is aboard with 2 out. Gunnar Henderson chops the first one foul. There was a time last night where Witt was on second base, but with the big hitters up, and he had a good lead, but he decided not to run, and afterwards went over to Mark DeRosa and said, what do you think about that? I don't want to run while Judge is up, while Harper's up. What do you think? And DeRosa told him, look, I want you to do whatever you think you can do. You are so dynamic. And he's going to get second with a wild pitch right here. Has his eyes on third, but throws on the brakes as Pasquantino gets to the ball. Mark DeRosa not wanting him to put any restraint on his game.
this is one of the farthest wild pitches you'll ever see on the ricochet.
So into scoring position for Henderson. On a 1-1 from Lorenzen. He can't lay off. It's in the dirt. Witt takes 90 more. So the first hit of the night becomes the first man in scoring position for U.S. A ball and 2 strikes on Henderson. Count evens 2-2. Judge on deck.
Good pitch and a good take. The two can be at the same time equally good for each player. That was a pitch to set up this next one.
Here it is, a 2-2. Henderson grounds it to second. Clean play by John Birdie, and that's that for the United States. They strand Witt at third and trail 3-0. Ryan Yarbrough, the New York Yankees, comes on to pitch in the top of the fourth inning. Nolan McLean finished, giving up 3 runs in his 3 innings of work. Yarbrough, 34 years old. He was a lifesaver for the Yankees for a lot of the first half last year. Some of the injuries they dealt with in the rotation. Ball one on Kyle Teel.
If you look up the definition of funky, Yarbrough might be the answer. He is funky and changes speeds and arm angles, and the hitter all off balance.
Now giving a different look to Kyle Teel here. Teel, who hit the first of the 2 home runs for Italy in that 3-run second inning. A former top prospect of the Boston Red Sox in the Garrett Crochet trade. He was one of the key pieces and then made it to the big leagues last year. Had a promising debut. He grew up in New Jersey as a big Yankees fan. And he mentioned that one of the assistant coaches for the Yankees is Jorge Posada. That was his hero as a kid. And Cervelli said that's exactly why I brought him here, to pair him with a young catcher like this and teach him what he could. You got benefiting from learning not just from Posada but from Cervelli as well. He was Posada's teammate on some of those Yankees teams. Said he's learned a lot from him about pregame routine, just little things that he never would have thought of, like before you do all your work, take your gear down to the bullpen so it's ready to go for any sessions that you have to catch. And Kyle was saying it's stuff that like never would have dawned on you, but that you might use for the rest of your career, thanks to the tip from the Yankee legend, who on the other side has old battery mate Andy Pettitte as the pitching coach. That's a walk for Teel to open up this 4th inning. Yankee flavor doesn't stop there. You've got Dave Righetti, who's the all-star pitcher for the Yankees in the 1980s as a pitching coach for Team Italy. More wins in the postseason than any pitcher ever. 5 rings to show for it for Pettitte. All right, here's Caglione taking a ball from Yarbrough.
Well, Team Italy, after the first inning, has done an incredible job controlling the strike zone.
That's 3 walks drawn these last couple innings against a staff that had walked only 2 over the first 3 games. Ball and a strike on Caglione, 6th pick of the draft a couple years ago out of Florida. Wave and a miss. It's some of that funk.
There he lowers his arm angle and breaks the ball away.
Man, now the 1-2. Same look there, but it missed. Caglione dominated the minors last year, went from AA to AAA to the big leagues, and first taste of the majors. Even a guy that stood above the rest in college baseball, hit just 157, really struggled in his first taste. Hits this one hard to right field. Judge will turn and watch it fly. Caglione has hit the 3rd home run of the game for Team Italy. They're going to need a fresh bag of beans over there in that dugout.
That's one of the longest tosses of a bat you'll see in a home run.
But Caglione joins Teel and Antonacci. All these guys down at the bottom of the order, no less. Getting it done for Team Italy. 5-0 in the 4th inning. Got a shocker developing here.
Yeah, it starts messing with his system if you're sitting over there on the other bench.
Oh my God, how did that feel? Take that shit. Oh.
man. Pasquantino, clearly beautiful human being. Strike one on Antonacci. So make it 8 home runs in the 3 games in this WBC for Team Italy. Antonacci's got one of them. His first time up today. So again, you start to think, what would this mean? Team USA losing off to a 3-0 start in pool play. This is their final game of pool play. They're not yet assured of a spot in the quarterfinals. If this score were to hold, best case scenario, or at least the surest way for them to move forward, would be for Italy to beat Mexico tomorrow, and so USA would be the 2 seed coming out of Pool B. Italy in that case would win the pool at 4-0. If this score holds and then Mexico beats Italy, then you got a potential problem on your hands. Chopper left side, running through from Gunnar Henderson to get Antonacci, especially as the runs rack up here for Team Italy, because again, if you get into a 3-way tiebreaker with 3 teams at 3-1, it becomes about runs prevented. So you want, if you're going to lose this game for Team USA, you want it to be as low scoring of a loss as it can be. Conversely, tomorrow, if Mexico were to beat Italy, you would hope that that would be as high scoring as possible to bump up their run totals. Dante Nori, sky high into shallow center field. And an easy one for Witt.
Well, either way, it's imperative in the bottom of the 4th that the Team USA checks in on the scoreboard, because the longer this goes, you can't expect this team to put up a 6-7 spot like they've done, 5 spot in an inning every game. But yes, this is a little bit shocking.
Back to the top in Marcy. Spinner for a strike. Marcy of the Miami Marlins. Made his debut last August. Originally was with the Padres and came over in the Luis Arraez deal a couple years back. Arraez, by the way, I see doing it again for Team Venezuela. Seems like he turns into a big power hitter every time the WBC gets going. An 0-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3 to finish off the inning, but another big swing from a young hitter on Team Italy, Jack Caglione, who did this so many times in his Florida Gators career, showing off Royals fans some of what they hope to see in the years coming up in Kansas City. Shocking game going on so far here. 5-0. Team Italy with the lead. And how about Michael Lorenzen? Back to work in the 4th inning. Buzzes Aaron Judge. 1 ball and no strikes. Change up at this 85. Whispering by him right there. The Americans are just 1 hit over the first 3 innings against the veteran Lorenzen, who's 1-0. Here's a strike.
He's done a great job changing pitches. He's not thrown really 3 pitches in a row in any same quadrant, and he's mixing them up. You talked about, what, 7 pitches, looking at 8. Well, he's needed all of them and kept the Team USA off balance.
Limit is 65 pitches. You can start an at-bat and then exceed 65. Just can't start a new at-bat after. And Francisco Cervelli ready to take him as far as he can. 1-1 to Judge on the ground to 3rd. Picked up by DeZenzo. Wide throw, but a stretch from Pasquantino. 1 gone in the 4th. Testing the offseason flexibility and mobility work right there.
Yeah, this ball, he had to wait for that last hop, and then the ball just kind of sails on him. Woo. Wow.
Limber guy. Schwarber with the bases empty. Wearing the C on his chest. One captain helps take a base runner away from another. On a 1-0 pitch, Schwarber swings through it, 1-1. And has the same kind of feeling as the game against Great Britain did from an offensive standpoint, like it's a matter of time before the offense gets going. The difference is they don't have the room for error because the pitching hasn't been as good. Here's Schwarber sending a fly ball out of center field. Marcy waits for it. 2 gone in the 4th. Pitching's been plenty good on the other side with Lorenzen. And for more on him, here's Kenny.
Joe, talking to Michael Lorenzen about this start, his attitude could not have been more refreshing. He was actually looking forward to it. He said, you want to play games that feel really meaningful in an environment that is as stressful as can be. Now, he was once teammates with a number of USA players, from Bryce Harper to Kyle Schwarber, Bobby Witt Jr., Michael Wacha, Tarek Skubal, but he didn't plan on exchanging pleasantries. He said, these guys are going to be trying to embarrass me, and he said he was fine with that too. He said, even if I embarrass myself, it's a learning opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity going against a lineup like this.
And he can carry this with him as he goes into those starts at Coors Field. Did it against that lineup. I can do it against any big league lineup, no matter where it is. On a strikeout, a guy that he'll see plenty this year in his division, and Will Smith. Lorenzen's 1-1. Inside, ball 2. The stud outfielder at Cal State Fullerton. In fact, more of an outfielder than he was a pitcher for a lot of his time there. Wanted to just focus on center field. He begged his coaches, Babe Ruth style, I don't want pro teams getting the idea that I can pitch too. Smith goes down the line into the left field corner. Headed for second with the first extra base hit of the game for Team USA. 2-out double, Will Smith.
Well, this young man that's coming to the plate, he won't expand the zone, and he's already been wowing his manager, Mark DeRosa. I would expect he's going to be looking for a pitch to really drive here with 2 outs. A good opportunity, really, to get the USA team going. 2-out base hit. Or 2-out, 2-run home.
In a 5-0 game, Anthony watches Lorenzen with Smith back to the bag. The United States has had 3 base runners. All of them have come with 2 out, looking for that big hit from the youngest player on the roster, the 21-year-old Roman Anthony. A little bit outside, ball 1. It continues to be such an impressive combination of skills at the plate from this guy. The ability to hit it a mile with the patience, the selectiveness. One and one. United States looking for that spark. Lorenzen ahead of Anthony, 1-2. One of the big swings in yesterday's game, where all 5 runs came in 1 inning. A 3-run mammoth home run. The 1-2 pitch. Fouled off, stays alive.
Well, regardless of how this inning ends up, Lorenzen has been everything you could ask for Team Italy. I mean, giving them a legitimate chance to win this game by putting up zeros.
Sharply hit, but right at the second baseman, John Birdie. And they strand the double. So 4 innings in the books here in Houston, and it's all Team Italy so far. Team Italy having all the fun in this game. 3 shots have been pulled as 3 shots have been hit. 5-0 as they try to get to 3-0 and pull off what would be the biggest win in Italian baseball history. Got home runs all from the bottom of the order. The 6, 7, and 8 hitter all fine in the seats. Teal, Caglione, and Antonacci. We're in the blues, by the way. Azzurro, Italian for blue.
Yeah, I learned something today. You really enlightened me with why they're wearing the blues.
John Birdie here, the 2-hitter against Yarborough, takes a strike on the inside corner. Before the Italian Republic, the House of Savoy had blue in its flag, and the World Cup team in 1934 in Italy wore blue as a nod to that part of the flag and won their first World Cup. And so a tradition was born where that became the color that not just the World Cup team but all their international sports teams wear. Azzurro. So Azzurri, the Blues, with a 5-0 lead. Pasquantino, Canzone to follow in this 5th. Yarborough's 0-2. Downstairs 1-2 on Birdie. Nine big leaguers all time have come from Italy. Chase and a high cutter. 1 gone in the 5th. A lot of history, though, Italian-American managers. Think about Tommy Lasorda, Tony La Russa, Joe Torre, Madden and Scioscia and Girardi. These days you've got Terry Francona and Torre Lavello. Even back to Billy Martin. Billy Martin was born Alfred Pisano. Strike 1 on Pasquantino. Vinny's 0 for 2, a couple strikeouts in this game, but a nice stretch at first base. 0-1 from Yarborough. Rips it foul, strike 2. Vinny, like Francisco Cervelli, said his whole goal in this thing is to eventually see a team Italy that's made up of a bunch of guys from Italy. So you look at it like we're holding the torch right now, and that the goal, if this is successful, would be that it grows the sport there and you get a bunch of young kids who want to play baseball after watching this team. Witt cuts it off and gets his Royals teammate. 2 away.
Yeah, growing the sport, creating more field space, and just more awareness. Other sports more popular, of course, but their goal is to make baseball more popular. They're on their way. If this continues.
Yeah, this would get some headlines over there. 2 up and 2 down in the 5th inning. Dominic Canzone, who's 0 for 1 with a walk.
We get a lot of headlines over here, too.
That's true. That's true. They would have a different tone to them. No balls and 2 strikes.
Late break.
Yarborough lets it fly. Canzone swings and fouls it back. Yarborough trying to follow up the 2-run 4th inning with a 1-2-3 5th. Still plenty of chances in this game for a powerful USA lineup. Pretty big hill to climb, though. Nobody warming yet. Lorenzen's still got about a dozen pitches left. Bottom of the U.S. order due up in the bottom of the 5th. Got evens 2-2 on Canzone. It'll be Goldschmidt, Clement, and Crow Armstrong. Yeah, just now some stirring down there. Dan Altavilla, they have several big league relievers who they can go to. It's gone from 0-2 to 3-2. Here's the payoff. Chopper that backs up Goldschmidt. Yarborough covers it first, and that's a 1-2-3 5th inning. We're halfway home in Houston. The U.S. bats trying to wake up. 5-0 ball game to the bottom of the 5th inning. From the World Baseball Classic to all the spring training games, we've got you covered. You can get personalized highlights and push notifications just for you. Download the MLB app, the #1 app for live baseball. Bottom of the U.S. order. Paul Goldschmidt takes a strike from Lorenzen, who's got 8 more pitches. The U.S. would love to get him out of there the way he's going, and Francisco Cervelli like a couple quick outs and have a chance to get through one more inning. No balls and 2 strikes on Goldschmidt. Only 2 hits against Lorenzen. He's got just 1 strikeout, but not a ton of hard contact. And very little traffic. Even when USA wasn't scoring in previous games, and again, I know they say wasn't scoring, they're scoring about 10 runs per game, but the stretches where the offense is quiet, they were still putting pressure on. They've lacked that tonight. This has been pretty low stress for Lorenzen.
It really has. He's done a great job mixing it up and keeping them off balance. A lot of ground balls, quick outs, soft contact.
Here's his 1-2. Goldschmidt just barely gets a piece to stay alive. It's 9 straight innings without a run for Team USA since their 5-run 4th yesterday, or 5-run 3rd yesterday. Taken high, and it's 2-2. So 4 more pitches for Lorenzen. Ernie Clement's on deck, then Pete Crow Armstrong. Another 2-2. Goldschmidt swings and misses. Strikeout number 2 for Lorenzen. 1 gone in the 5th, and he gets it done before 65 pitches. So they get 1 more hitter here in Clement, for the bullpen will have to take over. Clement, who made his name with that record-setting postseason run last year, 30 hits for the Blue Jays. It was Clement that gave him the spark in the 5th inning on Saturday against Great Britain. Got down to 2 strikes, and as he so often does, finds a way to put the ball in play. Turned into an error on Great Britain's 3rd baseman, and he eventually came in to score their first run. He's ahead here 2-0. Got a lineup of all-star after all-star after all-star. And then you got Roman Anthony in there, who's going to be a perennial all-star. Ernie Clement, emblematic of what Mark DeRosa was thinking when he put this roster together. Wanting versatility, wanting it to feel like a true team where you had guys that could play all over the place, could trust to do a bunch of different things. And D-Row lights up when he talks about Clement. He said this guy is a dude. In baseball words, that's high praise. 2-1. Down the line, but caught by DeZenzo. And that is going to do it for Lorenzen as he's reached the 65 pitches. 4 2/3 scoreless innings against this scary U.S. lineup. He could take that bit of confidence into his first season with the Colorado Rockies. Michael Lorenzen, boy, this is 99th percentile possible outcomes of this game so far for Team Italy. And for Michael Lorenzen, who was excited to take on a challenge, I'm not sure even he could have foreseen this. 4 2/3 scoreless innings against the Americans, and a 5-0 lead as he hands it off to a bullpen that is full of major league pitchers, including Dan Altavilla. Came back from Tommy John surgery last year for the White Sox and put up good numbers.
Fastball, slider, sinker, and changeup.
And here it's bases empty, 2 outs. Pete Crow Armstrong, the 9-hitter, hit it deep to center field his first time, but it was caught on the track. It should not matter. Okay, Lorenzen's out of the game when you're looking at this lineup for the United States, but they'll take what they can get at this point. You get the call right there, and it's 2-0. I hope they gave him an espresso shot. I know that's reserved for the home run celebration, but I think he earned it. It's a towering drive down the line. If it's fair, it's a no-doubter. It is foul. No question about the distance. Did he keep it straight enough? Not quite. Marcarosa. And home plate umpire Roberto Ortiz lets Mark DeRosa know that this is an umpire review. They're deciding to take a look at this themselves.
Review for the home run.
Just to confirm they've got the call right.
They're so high, they're going to have a hard time seeing if it went over.
After review, call on the field is confirmed. It is a foul ball.
So they did that quickly. 31 home runs last year for Pete Crow Armstrong, even in a year where Wrigley played like an extreme pitcher's park. Usually it's 2 parks in one. Some days it's extreme pitcher's park with a wind in, but you'll have days where it's just flying out. Didn't have as many of those days last year. Well, Altavilla, no, you can't come set until your hitter has his eyes set on you. Well, Pete Crow Armstrong settles back in there. Top of the order, Bobby Witt waiting on deck. 2 balls and 1 strike. Altavilla fires, and it's fouled off 2-2. Altavilla started his career at the Seattle Mariners. Then he went to the Padres, underwent Tommy John surgery, and missed almost 4 full years before coming back last year for the White Sox. His 2-2 is in for strike 3. Team USA shut out through 5 innings against the Italians. United States trails Team Italy 5-0 on 3 home runs. 5, 6, and 7 coming up here. DeZenzo, Teal, and Caglione. It's a part of the order that's gotten it done for Italy. Teal, Caglione, and Antonacci. 6, 7, and 8 have all gone deep. DeZenzo takes ball 2 from Yarborough.
Well, down 5-0 is one thing, but really cannot afford to give up any more runs. If you're going to get into that scenario we keep talking about for tomorrow night's game, the U.S. does not put themselves in a good spot if they give up more runs and don't win.
It's a fly ball to right field that sends Judge back. He's onto the track. He's at the wall. He's got room. All right, so I think it's reached that point of the game where we ought to give you a little more detail on what that tiebreaker looks like. When it's a three-way tiebreaker, you're going to go down to number 2. Runs allowed over defensive out. So that because you have mercy rules, you have some games that are shorter, can change that equation as far as it just being, you wouldn't want it to be simply runs allowed. But that's pretty much what it's going to be because you're not going to have mercy rules in these games between the tied teams. Mexico gave up 5 to Team USA last night. USA gave up 3 to Team Mexico, now 5 to Italy. So that 8's a pretty big number. Italy's not giving up a run. Obviously, in this game, they're yet to play Mexico. If you're still saying, wait a minute, what? Simple way to put it is this. If this score holds right here, best case scenario tomorrow for the United States is a Team Italy win. Worst case scenario is a low-scoring Team Mexico win. Kyle Thiel started it all. Is that simplified enough? All right, you know what, at least where your heart should be.
You just don't want to maybe get down to that batting average.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
This runs, then goes to earned runs, then the batting average.
And Team Italy came into the game with about a 350 average. 1-2 pitch. Awkward swing to stay alive. Just protecting right there is Teal.
Who would have thought that an official score could have an impact on who goes on?
Yeah, with the earn run thing. The White Sox catcher Kyle Thiel takes outside, and the count evens up. Kyle's mom's side of the family is from Italy. Yeah, that he's loved learning from in this couple weeks with Team Italy and Jorge Posada. A 2-2 from Yarborough. Chopped by first, past the diving Goldschmidt, and a fair ball. Ricochets in front of Aaron Judge. Teal's headed for second with a one-out double. Second extra base hit of the game. Kyle Thiel, though, appears to be in some pain as he dives into second. And as I look on his face, like he knows this is not going to be a simple injury.
Yeah, he knows right about there before it cut off.
No discussion. Teal walks off of the field. Team Italy upset to see their catcher leave. White Sox fans feeling the same way. One of the bright young studs leaving this WBC game with an injury.
That'll do it for Yarborough.
Mark DeRosa comes out to make the change. Yarborough going to leave the game with a 5-0 Team Italy lead. Runner at second, one away. J.J. DeRazio replaces Kyle Thiel and will take over the catching duties in a 5-0 game here in the 6th. New pitcher is Brad Keller, and he fires a fastball by Caglione for strike one. Second appearance of this WBC for Keller. Had 2 strikeouts in an inning of work over the weekend. The new Philadelphia Philly, after he came out of the middle of nowhere last year to dominate for the Cubs. This is the best reliever in baseball in the second half. He had a 0.33 ERA after the All-Star break and parlayed that into a 2-year deal with the Phillies. There's 1-1 to Caglione. Strike two. Every run important as we talk about that tiebreaker. Runner at second, one away here. 3 in the second, 2 in the fourth for Team Italy, all via the home run. Good stop by Smith. 2-2.
Aaron Nola will be pitching for Team Italy tomorrow. Not sure that we know who's pitching for Team Mexico.
They're really just 2 bona fide starting pitchers on Team Mexico's roster. And so set to look a lot like last night's game did, piecing it together. It's shaping up to make a lot of Team Italy fans in America. This game is headed here. 3-2. Here it comes. Taken for ball 4. Fourth walk drawn by Team Italy. It's twice as many as Team USA had issued the first 3 games here. Not Sam Antonacci. One of the 3 home runs for this club. You got a White Sox and Kyle Teal hitting one of them. White Sox minor leaguer right here. Grounds it back to the mound. Keller's got it. Low throw gets into center field. D'Orazio comes in to score. Throw is past second. Backed up by Keller. And it's a mess right now for the Americans. 6-0 Italy. What could have been an inning-ending double play turns into an error and another run.
Yeah, he just spikes it. He knows it right away. Gets off the mound and squares up to throw that double play and just throws it into the ground.
Dante Nori with the infield drawn in. Infield drawn in, showing the importance, preventing every run they can. Mark DeRosa knowing the equations that he's now looking at. Nori fouls it into the glove. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, because it is such a short run, everything magnified, and you never like to make too much out of one baseball game, but this stage is different. Every game does mean that much, especially when the expectations are what they are. And the room for error so small. Fly to right field. Should be deep enough to get the job done. Judge makes the catch. We saw his arm last night. Here he'll go to third with it. And it's 7-0 and a sacrifice fly from Nori. This bottom of the lineup for Italy continues to produce.
Well, the last 2 runs would be unearned in theory, in case it comes to that. So
yeah, games like these happen all the time during a baseball season, but in what is a week-long season, you can't afford to have a game where you look listless like this. It could all end as a result of this.
The crazy thing is 3-1 usually gets you in.
It still might.
It still might, but it's the one formula where 3 teams would have to be 3-1, which I don't know if that's. No other bracket has had that, so this would be the only bracket that would fall into that category if it falls that way.
Back to the top here, Marcy. Yeah, the count evens 1-1. And still time for Mark DeRosa's offense to come to life. But these are the kinds of things we shouldn't be saying. Nobody thought that we'd be talking about. Nobody thought that you need to talk about a tiebreaker or a big comeback against Team Italy. This lineup full of all-stars and MVPs, shut out over 5 innings. And a pitching staff that was supposed to be the difference. It was over the first few games. But the rookie Nolan McLean tonight, a touch for those 2 home runs in the 2nd inning. Yarborough hit hard in the 4th with a home run from Caglione. Here comes the runner from third, and he dives under the tag. Antonacci makes it 8-0.
That might be the greatest anticipated ball in the dirt with a runner on third I think I've seen in a long time. Any hesitation, he's got no chance. He gets that lead and goes right away.
Three and two. And it's gone from concerning to ugly.
Panic.
Yeah. And you got a young Italian team playing like they got nothing to lose. 8-0. Italy making this hill turn into a mountain for Team USA. Venezuela and the Dominican Republic to decide Pool D, to decide who gets to avoid Japan in the quarterfinal. Bobby Witt almost gets hit by the first one from Altavia. U.S. running out of time, and the deficit has grown to 8. U.S. has allowed 11 runs in the 2 games against the teams that would be involved in the tiebreaker. Mexico has given up just 5 against the U.S. yesterday. And Italy, while it's only played 1 of the 2 teams, nothing. So what this is turning into is, unless things change drastically, the United States probably going to need an Italy win over Mexico tomorrow to avoid an unthinkable early finish to this World Baseball Classic. 2-1 to Witt. It's fouled off. This offense full of firepower. Can they prove it here over the final innings? Come up with a massive comeback. Two to Witt. Fouled off. It's always the question, the chicken or the egg. Is there a lack of offense because you're flat, or do you look flat because you have a lack of offense?
Yeah, it's definitely the one thing about baseball that I've always said, you know, emotion is about results. And just when you don't get the results, you look flat because you don't get the results. You know, if you break your bat over your knee because you strike out, that's emotion, but you don't get the results. So it still comes down to you got to be able to string some hits together and get something going.
Witt trying to start it for him here in the 6th. He's worked the count full against Altavia. Gunnar Henderson, Aaron Judge to follow Witt. 8th pitch of this at bat to open the 6th inning. Witt's got one of the 2 hits in this game for the U.S. He swings through it, was fooled on that tight slider. 1 gone. I think at this point, no matter what the final score of this game is, even if the Americans were to pull off a monster upset, mission accomplished for Team Italy in growing the sport for the folks over there watching. Gunnar Henderson looks at a strike. This is Teal's injury, and D'Orazio, as expected, stays in to do the catching. That's significant as you look ahead to tomorrow's critical game against Mexico. Henderson, after the 4 hits on Sunday, or on Saturday, is 0 for 2 in this one.
The one thing about, you know, the earlier games, you know, even when they were down 1-0, there's not enough firepower in those teams' bullpens to keep you down. There's big leaguers, as you mentioned. So the probability goes way up for Italy.
That's a drive to right center field off of the bat of Gunnar Henderson to get the U.S. on the board. Well, it's a start. First run for the Americans since that 5-run third yesterday. Now Judge. Fifth hit of the tournament in 2 games for Gunnar Henderson. And the crowd will take any excuse to make some noise on a night where they've had very few of them. Judge hitting a looping line drive to center for Marcy. And there are 2 out.
This young man for Baltimore has so much power like this. You mentioned he had a down year last year. He will not have a down year this year.
Francisco Cervelli's coming out. Looks like they're going to make a change here with Kyle Schwarber coming up. United States on the board and a home run from Gunnar Henderson. Still a long way to climb though. Down 8-1. There's only one left-hander in that Italy bullpen, and Francisco Cervelli is going to go to him here for Kyle Schwarber. It's Joe La Sorsa, who's pitched for 3 different teams last few years in the major leagues. Tampa Bay to Washington to Cincinnati. And his first one to Kyle Schwarber misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Schwarber 0 for 2. Pops this one back and out of play. 1-1. La Sorsa in his second World Baseball Classic. In his first, after this strikeout to finish off an inning, get out of a jam. How about this emotion?
This is not WWE making the entrance to the ring. This is getting the last out.
Don't let that guy near the espresso machine.
I guess the bases were loaded. Is that
sure
scenario?
He gets ahead of Schwarber 1 and 2. And yeah, the bases were loaded. Now it makes sense. 27-year-old, born and raised in New York, fires a 1-2 pitch, and it evens up on Schwarber. Fouled into the glove, strike 3, and you wouldn't even recognize him. La Sorsa, stoic, marches off of the mound. 8-1 Italy after 6. Gabe Spire, left-hander from Seattle. A couple years ago, he had an ERA 5.70. Last year, 2.61. Was one of the best left-handers in the American League. Facing 2, 3, and 4 in the Italy lineup here. John Birdie fouls off his first pitch.
Well, he much like a lot of pitchers trying to get 2 different fastballs. Sinker and a 4-seam to cover 2 different lanes. And hitters will tell you they hate that. They'd rather sit on one of them or just deal with one kind of fastball.
One comes home to Birdie, gets a swing and a miss. You got guys designing breaking pitches in the lab, making them spin out as much as they can. But then, like you said, there's the guys with the cutter and the sinker off of that. Some guys will even have 3 fastballs. You got the 4-seam taken off. Down to third, scooped up by Henderson. Birdie can fly, but Henderson gets him. 1 away in the 7th. MLB Plus new for 2026. You can stream MLB Network 24/7 in the U.S. and select out-of-market games every week. Plus live radio broadcasts of every game. Game Day 3D, big inning, and minor league action. Go to MLB.com/MLB Plus to subscribe today. Pasquantino fouls it off his foot. Well, if I had told you that Team Italy, top 5 in the order, would combine for 0 hits, yet they would lead 8-1,
I would say there's very little chance of that.
Everything coming from 6 through 9.
When you have a game like this, I mean, it's human nature. You get a little shock to your system, and it happened with that 2 outs, right? There was 2 outs when the homer was hit. Seemed kind of harmless.
Yeah, back in the second, Teal.
And then the hit by pitch seemed kind of harmless. And then the homer. And all of a sudden it was like, uh-oh.
They've made every base runner count, has Italy. 8 runs on 4 hits. They've also scored runs with guys that got on 2 walks, a hit batter, and an error. So the power, and then taking advantage of every little mistake that Team USA has made. Every little opening they've cracked through.
And I can assure you that Team USA did not take this game lightly. The problem is they just didn't execute. You got to give the credit to Team Italy with Lorenzen on the mound, changing speeds and really keeping the offense off balance.
Here's 2-2 from Spire. Pasquantino bounces it down to first. Paul Goldschmidt will beat his counterpart to the bag, 2 away.
Well, what's going to be crazy is more than likely, just based on the way the games have gone in this series, that double play ball could be the difference on USA not going just to play like that. Just if it stayed at 5 runs, the likelihood, then Mexico would have to basically give up 2 runs or less.
Yeah, it was last inning. Throw to second. Could have been an inning double play. Instead, it goes into center field. 2 more runs coming to score. Bounding ball to second, and Ernie Clement, who will throw out Canzone in a quick inning for Spire. Stretch time, 7th inning, 7-run game. U.S. getting on the board with a home run from Gunnar Henderson. That is all they've got. Joe Lasorsa stays on the pitch with Will Smith to lead things off, followed by Roman Anthony and Paul Goldschmidt. 9 outs with which to work for Team USA, down 7 runs. Smith has one of the 3 hits. It was a double back in the 4th. "30 years old and going into his 8th year in the major league." Smith takes a strike. Bryce Harper has a bat and his gloves. Sure Mark DeRosa ever anticipated needing to call on Bryce Harper, Alex Bregman on what was supposed to be a day off for them. And none of these guys do you feel like you need to pinch hit for. But in this situation, searching for any kind of spark. Ball and 2 strikes on Smith. And more than a spark, you need a big fire.
Yeah. Well, they need to get a leadoff hitter on. When's the last time they got a leadoff hitter on?
Yesterday.
In the 3rd?
No.
No, you're right.
Yeah, the constant traffic that we saw the first few games, even when they weren't breaking through the big inning, that's been lacking today. Low stress for Team Italy a lot of the way. Got to go back to the 6th inning last night to find the last time they put the leadoff man on. 2-2 on to Will Smith. Here comes Lasorsa. Chopper. And to Nachi for the first out. And now Roman Anthony. Team Italy's doing this without the guy that they had their sights set on. They were hoping that Anthony was going to be on Team Italy. Both his sides of the family roots in Italy. So Italian. His grandpa, his dad, and his brother are all named Anthony. Anthony. Tony Anthony. The one that got away for Team Italy. Haven't needed him tonight. Really wanted him, and It sounds like he considered it, but then added the oblique injury that finished off last year, so was just planning on focusing on getting back from that. It was a late addition to the roster. Sends an opposite field drive to left center field. Marcy to the wall, and a leap from Nori. It was Marcy that wound up catching it. Everybody taking turns stepping into the spotlight for Italy. This time it's the center fielder Marcy to take away extra bases from Anthony.
Yeah, this didn't look like they were going to be able to communicate well, but one missed it and the other one was right behind him. It's amazing.
Strike on Paul Goldschmidt. It was just starting to feel like Italy's night. That's an understatement. Starting to feel, really has felt that way from the start. Kind of Andy Pages, Kike Hernandez vibes. Game 7 of the World Series. Goldschmidt through the left side with a 2-out hit. And the guy that hit that ball, the aforementioned Pages Hernandez play, comes up to hit here in Ernie Clement. Maybe against a different pitcher, though. Francisco Cervelli will end the night for La Sorsa. Alec Jacob of the San Diego Padres comes on to pitch with 2 gone here in the 7th. Base hit from Paul Goldschmidt keeps the inning going, and a pinch hitter comes up here for Mark DeRosa. Bryce Terang, the pinch hit for Ernie Clement. It's ball 1 from Jacob. Terang's been one of the stars for Team USA. Hard to find a guy who could exceed expectations just because so many of these guys carry such big resumes. But Terang, one of the more relative unknowns in this group, that has opened a lot of eyes. Head 2-0. Hits his ball to right center field. Caglione on the run. It's over his head and ricochets off the wall. Goldschmidt stops at third. A double from Terang. And the United States at second and third with 2 out.
Yeah, don't let his size fool you. He's got a lot of pop in that bat.
Mark DeRosa said he knew he was good, so I wanted him on the team, but that's the thing that has surprised him the most, how much pop that bat has. Looking for a big swing here from Pete Crow Armstrong to cash in on this 2-out rally. Second and third, Goldschmidt and Terang.
In an era and a bullpen with the big leagues, an average velocity that's way up there, this guy's fastball average was the slowest.
Looks a little bit like a wiffle ball, so you can understand why the swing looks like that. Way out in front. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's foul. Six base runners in this game for Team USA, 5 of them with 2 outs. Yet to have a hit to cash in on one of them. The 1-2 fouled off. Top of the order after PCA.
Well, what he does is he's slow, and then at 85, after seeing all those slow pitches, looks like 95.
USA cheering for PCA. Second and third, 2 out on the 1-2 pitch. Fly to right field. Caglione's going back at the wall. Goodbye. Not finished yet. Pico Armstrong, 3-run shot. So what looked like a measly 2-out single from Paul Goldschmidt has turned into something more. Terang follows with a pinch hit double. And then on the 2-strike pitch, Pico Armstrong hits a 3-run home run. The U.S. is within striking distance.
Another guy that's not big in stature, but boy, oh boy, thunder in his bat. Stays back and just launches.
And so the U.S. bottom of the order saying, I see what you're doing across the way, Team Italy. Bottom of their order producing all the offense. 8-4. Now can the big guys at the top contribute? Bobby Witt Jr. 1 for 3. Strike one. A little bit outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Henderson, who gave them their first run with a homer, waits for his chance. Witt hits it off the end of the bat to right field. Caglione has plenty of room to get his Royals teammate, but the United States getting some life right here. A 2-out rally. Goldschmidt, Clement, Pico Armstrong at the bottom of the order. 8-4. And now Bednar went from the Pirates to the Yankees last year, is on to pitch. Bryce Terang, after pinch hitting for Ernie Clement, stays in, plays second. Big pinch hit double for him as part of the 2-out burst. 5, 6, and 7 for Team Italy. It's DeZenzo, who's 0 for 3. Ball 1 from Bednar. Bednar, the only pitcher that returns from the 2023 World Baseball Classic team. Pitched well for Team USA. Had a 2 ERA in 4 games in that tournament. Helped stabilize the Yankees bullpen after the deal last year.
Well, every run that the USA team can get, obviously, in this game and make it not only come back, but make it closer, just helps for the formula for tomorrow.
1-2. Again, if they were to lose this game, simplest route forward would be for Italy to beat Mexico. Now, Mexico beating Italy would mean a 3-way tie. 3-way tiebreaker would come into play. Two from Bednar. This is away. Count goes full. Big hitters coming up for Team USA in the 8th. Henderson, Judge, and Schwarber. Arturosa still has Bryce Harper and Alex Bregman available to him off of the bench. Cal Raleigh as well. Strike 3 on a fastball to the knees.
Maybe caught a little guessing, and then the ball low, he says, is going to go down below the zone and stays right there.
So to Zenzo, the first out of the inning. And D'Orazio, who replaced Kyle Teel at catcher, comes up to hit. 0-2. Down to Ken.
Joe, interesting subplot heading into Toronto for Team Italy. J.D. Durazio is the only catcher on the roster outside of Kyle Teal, who of course left this game with an injury. Catcher is the only position teams are allowed to replace in this round according to WBC rules. The question is, does Team Italy have another catcher they can go to? We don't know the answer to that just yet.
Durazio saying, I got this held down. Had a home run on Sunday. And he strokes a base hit into center field here.
Really impressed by the at-bats by Team Italy. Not really locking in with what the games they did before leading into this, because we were doing other games.
There's a bullet into right field and a base hit for Caglione. What a game he's having. Italy's got him cornered with one away. Caglione has reached all 4 times, a homer, a single, a walk, a hit by pitch. He's scored all 3 times that he's reached prior to this one.
Well, right on cue. I mean, again, the strikeout came on a 3-2 pitch. They get a base hit and another base hit and threatening again.
Threatening to take that momentum that Team USA might have gathered in the bottom of the 7th right back. And again, it's this part of the order, 6 through 8. Antonacci is at the plate here, very much a part of that. The 2-run home run back in the 2nd. Corners are in. Antonacci swings and misses. One, 2. So this part of the order, 6 through 8. On base 9 of the 11 times they've come up. All 8 runs have come from these 3 spots in the order.
He needs to strike out badly right here for Team USA.
We got a chunk of the home plate umpire Roberto Ortiz.
It is coming back at the face mask. We talk about exit velocity off of a bat. Well, that ain't slowing down too much when you just barely miss it.
Still good to see Ortiz all right to stay in. Bednar back to looking for that strikeout against Antonacci. Dante Nori's on deck in an 8-4 game here in the 8th. 3-0 Team USA, 2-0 Team Italy.
See if he can get a back foot breaking ball. Fouled off the fastball.
Antonacci's made his name coming up to the White Sox system as being a really tough out. Hard to strike out. As many walks as strikeouts across 2 years in the White Sox organization. Fouled off a few. Waits in another 0-2 from Bednar. It's in the dirt. Scooks away from Will Smith. And they're actually going to say that it hit him. It hit Antonacci. And so back to third goes Durazio. And the bases are loaded.
Well, I said back foot to get the strikeout. I didn't mean hit the back foot literally. But that was the idea, to get a swing over the top. And In this case, luckily he hit it because the ball got by him. And another good at bat. Just so many quality at bats by Team Italy. Is you see the replay there? It was the top of the foot.
He had him down 0-2. He fouled off 3 in a row and then gets hit. So they're loaded for the 9-hitter Nori. Here's another one in the dirt. Will Smith finds it, and the runners stay put. Nori's 0-2, does have a sacrifice fly. And Nori is the guy that everybody was talking about. If I heard the name Dante Nori one more time today, I swear. Yeah, everybody fired up about this Phillies minor leaguer who was 3 for 3 with a pair of home runs on Saturday. Chance to break it right back open. Nori bounces it softly up along first. 1 ball and 1 strike. Nori was a first-round pick of the Phillies a couple years ago. Figures to be in AAA to begin this season. With the way he's performed here, wouldn't be surprising to see him in the big league roster sometime this year. He's got him loaded. 1 away in the 8th. 1-1 from Bednar. Just misses. Ball 2.
Well, this will be the pitch of the inning. A 2-1 count with the bases loaded. You do not want to go 3-1.
Two and 2.
Now you put the heat back on the hitter. I've always said with the bases loaded, the heat's on the pitcher, especially with the infield in. They're not playing for the double play because of the speed. So
Italy's been so tough in these spots tonight. They've had 9 2-strike base runners. 2-2 pitch. Got him. Bednar gets the strikeout that he needed. 2 out.
split finger, didn't have a ton of movement, but just enough.
Clayton Kershaw begins to warm for Team USA. Jacob Marcy hits it foul. That was Kershaw on the roster. Supposed to be a desperation situation where you've run out of pitchers, and perhaps it's gotten there for Mark DeRosa. The retired Clayton Kershaw. Here's an 0-1 to Marcy. Boy, oh boy. Go from just missing in the previous at bat to truly getting squeezed right there. Fouled off, 1-2.
That one would have been an ABS situation, automatic challenge.
Coming to a big league park near you in a little more than a couple weeks. All right, bases loaded, 2 out, 1-2 pitch. Bouncing ball right side, backs up to Rang, over to first, and they're out of the bases loaded jam, and so they maintain the momentum they may have created. 8-4 ball game. Matt Fess is on to pitch. Fess close to a decade in the big leagues, last year with the Guardians, and facing the teeth of this Team USA lineup, which finally showed some life last inning with a 2-out rally and a home run from Pete Crow Armstrong.
Fastball, curveball, cutter, sinker.
First one to Gunnar Henderson. Went deep back in the 6th. Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber to follow. USA trailed this game 8-0. If they could somehow come back and win it, they would guarantee an advancement into what a few hours ago still felt like a formality. Now Mason Miller replaces Kershaw on that bullpen mound. Henderson stays alive.
Well, the USA, I mean, they're a great lineup, but they're going to have to show the discipline and the fight that Team Italy has at the plate and battle and find a way, even with 2 strikes, put the ball in play. You never know what happens.
Strike 3. Henderson tips it into the glove. 1 gone in the 8th. Up comes Judge. Walk in the first inning. He's 0 for 2 since. Now, how about that? This Team USA team that walked 17 times in a game over the weekend has just that 1 free pass today. Italy has played about as good a game as they ever could imagine. That's hit down to third. It's smothered by DeZenzo. Recovers and throws in time to get Judge. DeZenzo sticks with it. And his throws just in time to get the American captain. 2 out in the 8th.
You gotta appeal it just in case, right? I mean, you're gonna can't take them with you. And maybe you get the call, but I don't think it's going to happen. But there's no risk in asking for it.
To review the call on the field is confirmed. The runner is out. The United States is out of challenges.
Down 4, down to their last 4 outs. Schwarber 0 for 3. Check swing, he laid off. 3 through 6 in the U.S. lineup tonight. Judge, Schwarber, Will Smith, Roman Anthony, 1 for 12 combined. The lone hit, Will Smith double back in the 4th. Stars shine for him in the win against Mexico yesterday. The homers from Judge and Anthony. Not enough thus far today. One-two from Festa. Italy trying to pull off what would be an historically big international win.
No doubt. With whatever, you know, you got to take into context with everything that's at stake, right? Like, if you knock out the USA team.
Schwarber with a base hit to center. And here they go again with 2 outs. Bryce Harper has the bat in the on-deck circle. That's in Roman Anthony's spot. I beg your pardon, that would be in Goldschmidt's spot. Anthony's still ready to hit on deck. Will Smith trying to give the Team USA what he's given to the Dodgers so many times. A big swing. Fouls off Festa's first pitch. Now 7 of the 8 base runners they've had tonight have come with 2 out. They're finally able to do something with it last inning. And again, that started with a measly single from Goldschmidt. Trying to make Schwarber's single mean something. Well, Roberto Ortiz returning the favor here. Will Smith saying thank you. I had a good look at the call on the other side. On 1-1, Smith hooks it down the line, foul, strike 2.
All of these things you could never get in spring training. These at-bats, these moments, yeah, ramped up early. Guys knew it coming in, had to be ready for it.
Ball and 2 strikes on Smith. Festa fires. Smith pokes a base hit the other way. Back-to-back 2-out hits for Kyle Schwarber and Will Smith. And now Roman Anthony strides up to the plate.
That was the best piece of hitting all night for Team USA with 2 strikes. Now, Roman Anthony does a nice job being patient and staying in the strike zone as we watch this replay of going the other way. But this first pitch, it's a good meeting at the mound, because this first pitch, if he tends to get outside of it and get aggressive and catch the right pitch out front, he pulls him within 1. But his job, more than anything right now, is to get Harper to the plate. And that would mean the tying run.
So here we go. Could a guy named Roman provide the biggest swing against Italy? 1 ball, no strikes.
That's the maturity I'm talking about. Anybody else going up there sometimes will try to make something happen, swing at that high pitch. Now he controls the count at 2-0. And if he sees one middle in, he's going to let it fly.
Anthony overshorted into left center field. It's a 3rd consecutive 2-out hit. Schwarber's in to score. Smith to 3rd. It's an 8-5 game. And Bryce Harper comes up as the tying run. Matt Festa got the first 2 outs of this inning on 5 pitches. Base hit, base hit, base hit, pitching change. Few seasons back and forth between AAA and the big leagues with the Yanks. Went to the Padres last year, and he's on, John, to face Bryce Harper.
I can tell you right now, Bryce Harper is swinging. If he sees anything close to that middle of that plate, he's swinging. Now, Bryce Harper doesn't pinch hit very often, but a big moment right here.
In his first WBC, Harper takes a ball. There's 8-0 Italy. 1 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th. Then 1 here in the 8th. 1st and 3rd, 2 out, 1-0 pitch. Just missed.
Wow, wow, wow.
Harper pinch hitting for Paul Goldschmidt. Will Smith at 3rd, Roman Anthony at 1st. A 2-0. Harper fouls it off. On a 2-1 pitch, Harper takes it right there, and it's 2-2. Stays alive. There's a long battle in the 8th inning that ended in the biggest home run of Bryce Harper's career. Clinching the pennant for the Phillies in 2022. Well, suiting up for Team USA for the first time in the World Baseball Classic. Harper pinch hitting and running the count full.
Well, that's big because now Anthony gets to get a running start, not the most fleet of foot.
There he goes. Here it comes. Harper flies it to left center field. Marcy back at first. Now comes on with Noy, who makes the catch and ends the inning. The U.S. gets one back, but leaves two. And after 8 innings in Houston. So Bryce Harper unable to come through there as the pinch hitter. He will remain in the game and play first base after pinch hitting for Paul Goldschmidt. The flame-throwing Mason Miller comes on for Team USA. Top of the 9th inning. John Birdie, the first man up, grounds it foul. 2, 3, and 4 for Team Italy.
Yeah, this guy, he sits at about 101.
Just sits there, just hangs there.
Got a nasty slider to go with it. And there it is.
The league hit 108 against that pitch. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to catch up to 101. And then that. From the A's to the Padres at the deadline last year, and was almost untouchable in those couple months, as he was in the months before. Swing and a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to John Birdie. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning for Team USA. It's Turang, Pete Crow Armstrong, Bobby Witt. Judge would be due up 5th. Pasquantino. Team Italy's doing all this even though their captain is still hitless in this WBC. That's a lot of strikeouts. 2 an inning for Mason Miller. Oh, and 2.
Knee buckler.
Off the end of the bat, easy one in left field, Roman Anthony. 2 out. So, again, if you're looking at a 3-way tiebreaker scenario where Mexico would beat Italy tomorrow if this score held, it would come down basically to runs allowed in the games against the tied teams. And currently those totals are 5 for Mexico in 1 game played, 11 for the U.S. in 2 games played, 5 for Italy in 1 game played. And again, Italy and Mexico head-to-head tomorrow night.
So,
throw a score at me and I'll tell you.
8-7, and USA's in good shape.
Yeah, as the score stands right now, that would get USA in. And any form of Italy win would get USA in. Now 8-5.
Yeah.
As the score stands, Mexico.
Doesn't work.
USA would not get in. 1-1 pitch to Canzone, fouled off 1 and 2. How about a 9th inning rally to make it all? You can put your calculators away.
I know there's a few people down there in that dugout would like to see that.
Highest batting average, not a place they want to go at this point either. There's a swing and a miss, and there is a ho-hum 9th inning for Mason Miller. Last breath for the United States. Last chance for Mark DeRosa's bunch trying to complete this comeback from down 8-0. They got 1 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. 3-0 and in pole position, and Pool B coming in heavily favored over Team Italy. But from the start, Italy delivering the big blows in this game. 3 runs in the 2nd, 2 runs in the 4th, 3 more in the 6th. Some self-inflicted wounds in that inning for Team USA. Yeah, now trying to do it. 8-9-1 coming up. Bryce Terang leads off as Ron Marinaccio stays in to pitch.
Well, they will pick a great time to get the leadoff hitter on. They have not done that in a long time. The ninth inning, they better find a way.
Terang and a pinch hit double. It's part of the 2-out rally in the 7th. This is unfathomable territory, even to be talking about needing a comeback to Team Italy. Hadn't trailed by multiple runs all tournament, then found themselves down 8. Terang leading off the 9th. The offer, and it's 1-2. Two and two. Sharply hit to short. Backhand pick and a throw across in time to get Terang. Antonacci, calm as could be in short left field. One gone in the 9th inning.
That's a pretty good play, as he could have stumbled and thrown this ball anywhere. Bang, bang.
Pico Armstrong, biggest swing in this contest for Team USA, a 3-run home run in the 7th inning. Still yet to make any kind of noise before 2 outs. 8 hits with 2 outs in this game, 1 for 18 before 2 out. Ball and a strike. Bobby Witt Jr.'s on deck with the top of the order. Looking for one last burst. 1-1 pitch. PCA fouls it off. Strike 2. These are pitchers that preyed on Kerr Armstrong's aggressiveness. This time he got a strike and he pounded it. His second home run. It's 8-6. Pico Armstrong putting Team USA on his back.
That's impressive.
And Francisco Cervelli's got to be pulling his hair out, wondering why in the world Ron Marinaccio gave a guy that chases more than anybody in the National League that pitch with 2 strikes. PCA didn't miss. They continue to chip away. Greg Weisser to the Boston Red Sox, coming off a career year, is on to face the top of the order. Bobby Witt Jr. climbs in. One and 0. Four-plus innings from Michael Lorenzen tonight, and a parade of major league relievers out of Italy's bullpen. Weisser's 1-0. Witt pops it up, down the line to right. Caglione charges on, won't get there. Nearly a strike. 1-1.
6 different pitches, but the one that gives hitters the most fits is the fastball up. to get one more runner on to make this place really.
Up the middle, and there it is. John Smoltz. A base hit from Bobby Witt. And they've got the tying run coming up in the form of Gunnar Henderson.
Well, that also means, barring the double play, Aaron Judge will be up this inning as well. Not that Aaron Judge that we saw, the one that's on deck.
Looming large behind Henderson, who's got a home run tonight. First pitch from Weissert. Henderson swings through it. Both shortstops in the lineup tonight for Mark DeRosa. Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson, who promised to force Mark DeRosa's hand. Said, I'm going to make it undeniable that you've got to play me. On an 0-1 pitch. Lunges after it, and he's down 0-2.
Two really good pitches after giving up that base hit. Now putting him again in the two-strike hole.
Oh-2. Fouls it straight back. Visit from Durazio. One catcher who took over in this game for Kyle Teal when he left with the injury. The captain Pasquantino up there as well. Aaron Judge waiting for his chance. Team Italy 2 outs away.
I was going to say I'm kind of wondering why they're holding him on at first, but I guess run prevention, you play back, you don't really care. In a normal game you don't care if Bobby Witt scores as long as you win the game.
Another 0-2 from Weissert. Henderson lays off. Got him. Weissert strikes out Henderson. 2 gone in the 9th, and it's up to the captain. It's up to Aaron Judge. Well, it came down to the captain in the championship game in 2023 when Trout faced Ohtani. Didn't go the U.S.'s way. The new Captain America, Judge, takes strike 1. Fouls it off. Weissert ahead of Judge 0-2. Just misses. Judge wouldn't bite. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Guys have faced off plenty. Red Sox against Yankees in the WBC. Now the 1-2 pitch. Judge swings and misses, and Italy has pulled off a stunner. The biggest win in Italian baseball history They shock the United States 8-6. And would you believe that the Dream Team's hopes now rest in the hands of a baseball team from Italy?